me as a producer. I made that film about the paraplegic war veterans.
Yeah.
The point of that film was it was a very, doesn't sound like a particularly attractive commercial venture. It was Marlon Brando's first film, though, and I remember it very well, and he cared a lot in those days, so I have a fond memory about it.
Do your pictures change you at all?
They probably have, but again, to look at myself, I'd come up with a very false conclusion. I don't know. I still don't know what I am, and I don't know what I want. So how can I be sure whether they've changed me or have not changed me? I'm certainly not satisfied.
But you know, you've survived, and from what I understand of Hollywood, and again, it's purely an outsider's view, that's quite something just to survive.
I used to think so, but I've come to the conclusion, without getting sticky now, that survival is not the important thing. It's what you survive as that's important. And I sometimes get a little bit guilty about my compromises, but then I figured it out for myself. All life is filled with compromises. When they say the artist doesn't compromise, nonsense. You may not think so at the time, but look at what you've done 5 years later, 10 years later. It's filled with compromises.
Let me ask the trite question, which I think does have relevance here. What is the biggest compromise you've made?
I think the biggest compromise I've made doesn't seem to be the biggest, but it is. And that is there's only one film with which I've ever been associated, good, bad, or indifferently, which did not represent the point of view I was willing to go out and fight about with anybody. And that was the Caine Mutiny. Because I think that the man who was court-martialed, who took over the ship, should have taken it over. And that was a compromise to the Navy, which said there had never been a mutiny in the United States Navy, and that the captain's word, because of chain of command, must prevail. And I didn't believe it, and I did it anyhow. And I felt that my biggest compromise by far. I made the film with the other viewpoint.